Mercedes, I wanted to start with you first. I love Lexi's journey this season where she's taken this really scary moment and turned it into something really positive and really discovers her voice, which I think will resonate with so many people. And you brought so much nuance to that. As an actor, how did you create the space for yourself to tackle that emotional arc?
That's a great question. I will say that my life really does resemble Lexi's in the
Mm,
sense that I've always had to advocate for myself and overcome challenges. So just stepping into that world, I think any woman can relate to sometimes that sense of danger, and
mm,
uncertainty. And so I just tried to tap into just like those very like my natural instincts really, but then the strength that I know I have inside and the strength that I know Lexi has inside and how we could use that to really overcome any situation. So that was a challenge, but I know she had to stay strong because she's an example for so many. So
yeah.
yeah.
Beautifully said. And Ace, your character has probably the biggest transformation since season one, where in the past he made a lot of really selfish decisions, but now his sole focus is to provide and protect for his family. You brought so much depth to that contrast. How did the preparation change emotionally for you as you headed into season two?
Going to season two without spoiling anything, it was a bit of a challenge for me because Bodhi is going to go through so many different situations that I personally never had to go through. And
Mm,
so I actually had reached out to close friends and relatives. And without telling them what was going on in the show, I just start picking their mind. And
Mhm.
like because I know people that have gone through these things, and so I was just trying to like learn from them and then try and
mm.
embody that and portray that on camera. So
Mhm.
You
it
definitely accomplished.
took a bit of prep, but it was a beautiful story.
Yeah, you accomplished that. And Mercedes, representation is such a cornerstone of media. And what this show does so brilliantly is it highlights all these different walks of life without having to call attention to it. What has it meant for you to play a character like Lexi, who is this powerful Black female pilot in an industry that's predominantly male, and be that voice for so many young women?
It's an honor. It's a complete privilege. I take it very seriously. Sometimes people are like, Mer, breathe. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. When you value diversity, inclusion, equity, all of those things, it's in the little details. Something as simple as on set having a hairstylist who can cater to my natural hair as
Mm,
a Black female. That's important for me. When you feel good, when you feel respected and you feel comfortable, you can do your best, right? So I think everyone deserves to have that type of care and yeah, attention to detail really. um i I think that the oh my goodness, I'm gonna get emotional. But the storyline, if you remember the last scene in season one, where Lexi was in a restaurant and there was a little girl who was looking up to her, and I just gave her a little wink, and that just that encouragement. Like I feel that sense of pride every single day
mm.
when there are people who like reach out to me online, different young women, Black women who are like, hey, I want to get into aviation. And I was like, wow, I feel so honored to provide that type of inspiration and representation. I'll never stop. I always encourage people to keep doing what they love. And when they think their dreams are big, dream even bigger.
And continue blazing that trail. I know, Ace, I
And
think one of the benefits of television as a medium is the opportunity to grow with a character for an extended period of time. And this is the longest that you've lived with a character. Has anything surprised you about his journey across the two seasons? What's been the biggest takeaway for you as an actor being a part of this project?
The biggest takeaway is honestly really, or at least one of, is having that new whole appreciation for pilots and
Mm,
nurses and the whole, just the job.
yeah.
Because before this show, it was just never a thing I thought about. You know what I mean? In the show, we discuss how, Lexi has this great line with, or conversation with Bodhi where they talk about, every time a pilot gets in that cockpit, they're not always promised that they're going to come home.
yeah.
But we're just so used to these things, just like driving a car. you know, you're so used to just getting from point A to point B that, you know, you don't think of all these other things as a passenger anyway, or, you know, so I think one of the biggest takeaways is like seeing these pilots go through these traumatizing situations and crazy situations with next to nothing, taking care of communities that are truly struggling, and they're really giving their all. So I think that's, for me, that was the biggest like eye-opening thing, is that these people are really putting their lives at risk every day for these small communities that really need help.
It is a big sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're away from family sometimes. You like it's long trips, it's dangerous, but they do it because they love it. So I'm in the same boat as Ace. I have such an appreciation for aviation. I can't even turn it off now. I'm in the plane and I'm just like,
Yo,
okay,
same here.
they should be putting the flaps down.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm like, okay, I know they're doing checklists now.
I
Okay,
knew
now
they doing yep, yep.
I'm gonna start to taxi. Okay.
It's really
Right. You
cool.
know, this is a question for the both of you, but one of the major themes of this series is the concept of chosen family and how these characters take care of one another. Having been a part of this series and this family for 2 seasons, has there been a moment where one of your co-stars has shown up for you in a similar way?
Oh, you know, for sure.
We like everyone. We're actually, it's surprisingly interesting how close we all are. We do live in different provinces and we travel quite a bit, but we all try to stay in touch. A memory that just popped into my mind is while we were shooting up in North Bay, it's not that far from Toronto. And I'm from Toronto, so there was, we took like a weekend trip and some of the cast came down to Toronto. We went to some different restaurants. I pretty much showed them around the city, you know? And then we crashed at my place. So it was really nice to host not just my castmates, but my friends, you know?
Mm.
Yeah.
100%. And you know, we really are there for each other. I mean, we all check in on each other randomly, you know what I mean? If it's like a phone call, a text, or a message, it's a real family over here. And multiple people have personally just like, you know, tapped me on the back and helped me through such difficult situations that I was going through my personal life. Like I actually like hurt my back a little bit like before season 2 even started filming, and Thomas, Mercedes, and Keon, they had my back like literally because they were taking care of me and making sure that I was good to go. And you know, it's things like that, and more personal things where everybody just always, you know, chimes in and just like making sure that everybody's okay. And if there's anything you need to talk about, you know, everybody basically comes up to me and says, look, I know we're not the closest of friends, but we are family now. So if you need to talk, I'm here for you, period. You know, that's the vibe that goes on the set.
Yeah.
And that friendship comes across in all of your performances as well. I got one final question for you. There's so many different possibilities where this series could go. If we're lucky enough to get a third season, is there an aspect of your character that you want to dive further into, or a relationship dynamic that you'd like to explore?
Ooh, that's a good question. You're good, Kevin. You're good.
You got the questions.
um, so I would say, without giving too much away, that I I thought it was beautiful how Lexi was able to, you know, find a new romantic relationship this season. So I'd like to see where that goes, but also her relationship with herself and her leadership and her confidence. As we know, in the aviation industry, there's always room to grow. There's always like a next position up. So as she continues to climb that ladder, I want to see her continue to, you know, be a leader and take charge and just come even more out of her box. I think that Lexi stepping into some sort of leadership role would be really, really cool. And
I can
like,
see it.
I, I personally too, I love kids. I love working with the youth. So if we could find a way to get
I mean,
Lex
Chopper's doing it now.
Chopper's doing it, call me Chopper. You know, I'm gonna be if you need a little assistant,
Oh, well, I could see that. I could see that. I could see Lexi showing up
Yeah.
being a little
for Chopper, you know, just like you know, and maybe we'll, you know, see that little girl again, and that little girl's in the class. She'd be like,
Mm.
Yeah, you know, I
but
like it.
you know, I like for
Or I
me
can babysit if you, hey, if
that,
Bodie
that's
needs
what
me
I
to
said.
babysit.
You know, for Bodhi, I would really like to see him step up as more of a positive leader, um, and being more selfless. So it would be cool to see, you know, I would love to see how his relationship develops, as well as being a father, and see how that translates into how he leads in his workplace.
Mm.
I
Mm.
mean, I really love the fact that we touch on the we touch on the subject of, you know, a black indigenous man wanting to be there as a father. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's breaking the stereotype that we see in so many different things, where, you know, the household is fatherless or something like that. And I love the fact
Mm.
that he wants to be there and basically give everything that he, you know, may or may not have had as a kid
Mm-hmm.
to his son. And that's just really just being like a father, and being a true father, and being there. And I think it'd be cool to see how that develops, as well as the relationship with Madison, and how that all translates into how he leads going forward, because he was so cocky at first, right? So it's like, this guy, you know, snapping at Lexi for no reason. You know, she's literally just stacking boxes, bro. Chill. You know.